Hi, this is Mira with CRM Perks, and I'm going to run you through our WooCommerce to Salesforce plugin and hopefully highlight some of the key features and flexibility that it gives users for sending in their lead and sale information data into Salesforce. So I've already installed our plugin right here. As you can see, then it'll add a few fields under WooCommerce section, Salesforce feed and Salesforce log, and then the settings too. So in the settings, you'd want to set that up first. So in the settings, you'll see there are two integration methods, either via API or web to lead or web to case. And the difference being the API connection is way more powerful and gives you a lot more features and access to. However, Salesforce limits you to API access based on what level of subscription edition you have. If you have Contact Edition, Group Edition, or the Professional Edition, you will only be able to use Web to Lead, and you'd have to grab your Salesforce org ID from inside your profile and just put it in here and connect. But for this purpose, let's assume you have an Enterprise Unlimited Developer or Performance Edition, which gives you API access, and we'd go from here. So you'd want to log into Salesforce. I was already logged in on the web, so it recognized that and it authorized the connection. You can always revoke access, notify yourself with errors, put in your email and let you know if something didn't feed in properly, and you just save changes. Now down here you can disable logging if you want, which means you won't be able to see a log of all the feeds that feed into Salesforce. I prefer to keep it on, and I recommend keeping it on unless you have some reason, because you can see everything that was sent, anything that had errors, anything that got filtered. We'll go to that next. Also for this, if you see this, I would also recommend not using it unless you have your own SSL on your domain and you want to set it up. Basically, by not checking it, you will use our SSL and as initial redirect for authentication. So you don't need to really worry about that much, but we just give you the option to do it on your own. Okay, so now let's first set up a feed, since now we've set up the settings. Okay, let's set up the feed, new Salesforce feed. Let's call it WC Lead, for example. And when you first you'll only see you have to select the Salesforce object, and these are all the objects in your Salesforce account. I want to send in my orders as leads, so click the lead button. And in section 2, you will see these are all the form fields, which are basically your order fields, and the Salesforce feed fields, and you will map them to each other. It's pretty straightforward. Anything that's required will have a required in red next to it, and make sure to do these or it will not save. These are all the ones I have in my Salesforce, so they will look different than what you have. And then we'll get to these bottom parts, but let's go back up top and map the fields. So last name, let's do billing last name. You'll also see that you can do custom fields and custom values, so we give you complete control. Let's do a lot of the information just so you can see how much information feeds in. I'm doing the city now. You get the idea. Oops. And so forth. Let's do the zip. The good thing is once you set these up, they're pretty much the same. Email. Okay, that should be good enough. Now if you don't want this all in your way, you can go back up and minimize the whole thing and move on to section 3. So this section is actually a very powerful section, even though it looks like just two little things. This is when to send the order to Salesforce. So you can choose if you want the information to be sent in to Salesforce when the user submits the order, when you change it to complete or processing, or when a user like creates an account on the checkout page and you want to make them a contact, for example. Or you can put that you only want to manually send the order to Salesforce, and you can do that within each order. There'll be a send to Salesforce button, and I'll show you that later. So let's do this for now. When the user submits the order, I want it to automatically send in the feed information I just set up above. So also you'll see there's a custom filter option. Let's click enable. And this allows you to set up any conditions you want based on a multitude of options on when the order information is sent into Salesforce in this feed. So for example, you could say, I only want to send in the information to Salesforce if like the billing company name exactly matches or starts with or contains, WooCommerce or something. So then any order that contains a billing company name of WooCommerce will only be sent in to Salesforce. Anything else will not. You can create other and filters. For example, also the billing first name is not empty, and you can create or filters. The same thing happens. The billing zip code exactly matches. So this or this then is sent to Salesforce. So it's a lot of conditions and a lot of power that allows you to control the flow of information between the two. Now the primary key after that is, let's say I always have repeat customers and I don't want them each sent in as their own order again. Not order, but as a own, as a new contact into Salesforce, for example. What I'll do here is I'll select their email, for example, as a primary key. So what this does is it says if customer with the email mira@crmperks.com purchases again, don't send in a new lead into Salesforce. Update the existing lead. So for example, if my information has changed, like let's say my we had put in like billing address. If my billing address had changed, my street number, for example, it would update the existing record in Salesforce based on me using the same email to make the purchase with the new billing information. So it's pretty cool and pretty powerful. Let's go back down. We'll just leave this empty for now, but you know what that is now. Also, we do integrate with Salesforce campaigns. If you're running a campaign in Salesforce, you can feed in those orders as leads into that specific campaign. We'll keep that unchecked for now. And that's it, and you publish your feed. It's pretty easy. I was just running you through all the features. For the most part, like I said, you just have to select the object and map all the form fields, and pick your options and if any conditions if you want them, and you're good to go. So now that we've set up the settings and we've set up the feed to Salesforce, all we have to do is put in a test product and get this baby going. So let's So as you can see, I've already had this pre-filled, so I put in my name, the company, my address, and filled all that good information in. And I want to pay by check, but I'm placing the order. Okay, order received. So let's go check it out. Ta-da! Added to Salesforce, and since we connected via the API, technically I should be able to open this. And there's all the information that we mapped. So this is my Salesforce that's connected, and the name, the company, we mapped the email, and remember we mapped the address as well. And these are those other fields that I didn't map, which we can map. But it's literally that easy. Let's go back to the order. So remember I was saying if you wanted to manually send in an order, you'd have to click it within the order if you had chosen that option, and you can do that right here. And I could even do it right now. For example, let's say I edited something and I want to send it back in. So you can see it added it again to Salesforce with a new lead ID, and that's because we don't have it set to update like I had mentioned before. And you can see all the transactions in the order notes. You can see how it's ROF was the initial lead, and this is the second lead, the ROP. And so that's inside the order. Now let's go to the log. So you click the Salesforce log. Now it shows 2 because, like you saw me doing the order, I clicked to send to Salesforce again. You can click on the details, and you can see all the details that were mapped: the last name, first name, company. So these were all the fields that were mapped. Data sent. We had 0 errors if there's any errors, or if a lead was filtered, it would show it in here pretty much. You can delete items here. You can sort, you can export as CSV based on all the statuses. Whatever your view is, it will export, which is pretty cool. So let's go back to the feed real quick. Just want to show you one more thing. I want to add a condition of, let's say, billing first name contains AAAA. So only send the order if my name is AAA, for example, right? Okay, let's update because that makes complete sense. Anyway, the shop, add to cart, view cart, check out. I'm going to check out with the same information. As you can see, my name is not AAAA. I placed the order. So technically this order should not feed in because my name is not AAAA. Let's go to the log directly, and you'll see that it says it was filtered. This is the order, and it'll tell you what the data was filtered based on. So that's a pretty quick run through our plugin, and I appreciate the time you've taken to go through it with us, and we hope to hear from you soon. Thank you. Bye.